This is Mr. MegaManFan. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You know all the things to do. And today I'm going to show you why it's important to open your sealed games, even if they're valuable. Because over time, the shrink wrap does damage to whatever you have. Such is the case with the house in Fata Morgana. This looked like a perfectly sealed copy, but you will notice when I pull up to the top here, there is already a crease in the middle of the top because of the shrink wrap. And that's only going to get worse over time if I leave it sealed. So today, I'm going to open this and show you the contents inside and save the shrink wrap from causing any further damage to this box. For me personally, there's also a solid financial reason to go ahead and open this. It's that whether you get a copy new or used, Fata Morgana is a plus $100 game. So to buy an opened copy to just keep this one sealed seems pretty ridiculous to me. I don't want to make that kind of investment twice. Plus, given that it's over $100 new or used, I don't feel like I'm taking away that much value by opening it. In fact, I'm actually saving the value by preventing the box from being damaged any further by the shrink wrap. You may agree, you may disagree. You may even tell me, just download it and play it without breaking the seal. But then I don't get to look at all of the contents inside. Now, I did briefly entertain the notion of getting a Japanese copy since it's cheaper than the North American counterpart, but there's a problem with that. It doesn't have an English language option. If you buy the Japanese Vita game, it's entirely in Japanese. There might be a way to patch it, there might not. I would just rather have a North American English language copy. And again, by actually opening this, I get to see all of the contents and enjoy them. I get to see the art book, I get to see the poster, I get to play the soundtrack, and I get to play the game. And if I just left it sealed forever, maybe it would appreciate in value, or maybe it would depreciate in value as the box continued to get crushed. But either way, I would never get to enjoy it. So I hope you understand my philosophy here. Last but not least, there's the fact that lately Limited Run has come under fire for substandard production quality in some of their games. And as much as you might want to leave things sealed for the collector value, how do you know that you have a working disc, a working cartridge, a working whatever inside of your box if you leave it shrink wrapped forever? And I kind of think they're counting on that at this point. They think people aren't ever going to open their games. They're going to buy them sealed and keep them as shelf candy. So the only way we can keep them honest is to open these and play them, because if we leave them sealed, they can stick any old thing in the box and never worry about it. They have offered to replace every affected copy of Rugrats at their expense, so I'm not going to play the cartridge I have anymore and wait until a replacement arrives. But again, if people weren't opening their boxes and checking the cartridges to make sure the voltages are correct, you would never know and they would get away with it. I'm not even saying they're trying to get away with something. I'm not accusing them of anything. They're saying it was a manufacturing issue from a partner they thought they could trust. So you could at least give them the benefit of the doubt on that if you wanted. And if you don't want to, then that's within your right to do so as well. I don't know if they've ever made right on those D discs for 3DO that weren't glass mastered. If you want to get an update on that, I would suggest following Video Game Esoterica on YouTube and social media, because that was the biggest source of information that I can recall talking about the fact that the D discs weren't glass mastered. Anyway, you can see that so far I've got an art book and a poster, but there's still a game and a soundtrack in here. And it's kind of hard to get to them without pulling out the entire tray. But since I was not worried about creasing it any further, since it already had a crease to begin with, I saw no reason to not pull out the tray to get to the remaining contents. So first I'm going to fish the Vita game out of there, and then I will pull out the tray to get the soundtrack out of there. And of course, I will break the seal on the game itself to play it because, again, I've already gone this far. Why wouldn't I go further and actually play the game? I know you will again want to argue that you could just buy it on Steam and play it that way. And you'd be right, you can, if you don't want to spend the money that a PlayStation Vita version of it costs. That's entirely at your discretion. But since I already own this, why am I going to spend another $25 for the game on Steam and then another $20, $30 for the DLC and the bonus content? It's not like I'd be out less money, I'd be out more money. And I already have the game I want to play. So I'm just choosing to not buy it twice here. I'm breaking the seal. I might be losing $10 or $20 in value. Who knows? But I still have a complete in-box game, and that's still valuable to me. And if I ever have to resell it, I'm sure I can get at least 3 figures for it. Unless the collector's market for PlayStation Vita just completely collapses and nobody talks about Fata Morgana anymore, and it's not a coveted game like it currently is now, where even the PS4 and Switch versions of it resell for high amounts, then yeah, sure, I'd take a bath on it. But that's true of pretty much anything in my collection that is a game that costs more than it was originally manufacturer's suggested retail price. That's the way it goes when you collect video games. You're going to lose value if you break the shrink wrap, and very rarely, sometimes things will go way up beyond that value, but they could always go back down in value. So what are you buying video games for? Are you buying them for the price fluctuations, or are you buying them to play them? This is a philosophical argument. Maybe it's even an ethical argument if you're hoarding rare games and never playing them. So I'm going to leave that to you in the comments section to debate it at your leisure. Whatever you think is right, please leave your comments below. In the meantime, in between time, I'm going to go ahead and break the seal on the Vita game itself now that I've got everything I wanted out of the box and put the poster and the art book back in the box for safekeeping. So I won't be showing too much game footage of Fata Morgana because this is a visual novel, if you will, and if I showed you too much of the gameplay, that would kind of be spoiling the novel for you. And I'm not the biggest stickler to making sure I don't spoil anything, especially if something is anywhere from 5 to 10 years old, and this certainly is, so you could find out the whole plot online if you really wanted to. But at the same time, I also feel like if you're new to Fata Morgana, if you're watching this for the first time, you've never heard about it, why am I just going to play the whole game in this video, and then you'd have no reason to ever play this game? If you want to learn more about Fata Morgana after seeing this, I recommend Red Bard's video about it. She does a very good video that's spoiler-free for the most part. She talks about the major beats of the story without telling you what actually happens or how it ends. So you can get a taste of what it's about without necessarily ruining what the experience would be for yourself. And that's what I'm aiming for here. I'm going to unbox it. I'm going to show you the opening sequence from when it first starts up, and then I'm going to leave it to you to decide if this is something you'd want to read. I emphasize the term read. When I say visual novel, there's a very specific meaning there. It's a game, but it's a game where your choices are limited. You can advance the plot. Sometimes you can take a branching path, and you can save your progress as you go, but you're not actually going to do a lot of battling or exploring dungeons or platforming or anything like that. We're in a choose-your-own-adventure book, and sometimes the amount of choices in a visual novel are even more limited than a choose-your-own-adventure book would be. But in summary, I want to say the reason I wanted Fata Morgana is because this is so highly rated as visual novels go. It's probably the best, if not one of the best, that was ever released on PlayStation Vita. So even if you have to get it on Steam for cost reasons, it still comes highly recommended. If you like dark gothic visual novels, I think you will find this one appealing and you will want to read it. I say read it, not play it. You will definitely be doing a lot of reading, so if that's not your thing, then skip this one. Thanks for watching.